Hello, I'm Brian Donahue, and in this short, informal video, I will attempt to explain what it means measuring and indexing the social determinants of health. Here's the evolution of where this came from, which we believe is now an immediate need. It started back in 2013. Two of our dear friends who are prestigious and nationally recognized healthcare leaders explained back then that a health crisis is coming, and they emphatically over and over repeated, we must teach individuals and communities to take their health into their own hands. Well, look where we are today. The crisis, I believe, truly has arrived. U.S. healthcare spending is up 4.6% in 2019. That comes to the remarkable, unbelievable number of $11,500 per person in this country on healthcare a year. Healthcare spending as a percentage of the gross national product is now at 17%. Although we have the shortest lifespan of the wealthy countries of the world. So in 2014, we incorporated a California nonprofit corporation with distinguished faculty from Berkeley and Stanford and administrators from the Public Health Institute, 35 different medical doctors, professors, nurse practitioners, business leaders, nonprofit leaders. And we simply evolved over those years since then to ask ourselves, where's the greatest point of pain? Where does it hurt the most? What aren't we doing right? And we have a problem. It's time. Time, when you think about it, is the only finite resource we have in our lives. You only get 24 hours, all of us. If we had more time, the healthcare provider could get to know more about the patient in a real relationship, where they work, where they live, what kind of conditions they are experiencing. But there's no time for those conversations. Patients, on the other hand, they want a real relationship with their healthcare provider where they can tell their stories about this, where they live, where they work, what are the conditions that they're subjected to, what are their stressors. If we had more time, healthcare providers could make higher quality medical decisions. The healthcare provider could go more into the description of what the conditions are, more on diagnosis, more on predicting what may happen to this patient, and prescriptive steps to prevent a future occurrence of something. Make no mistake, time is what we don't have, so we have to figure out, what do you do if you don't have time? Well, let's start with some definitions. Most people are familiar with the concepts of the social determinants of health. In short, it's where you are born, where you grow, your age, you live, you work, and you die. These are the subtle, often vague, gray concepts of childhood experiences and housing and education. We've made loads of progress on measuring this, but indeed it is family income, employment, access to healthcare, communities. What is a community? Well, here's what science has told us, that these social determinants, in fact, influence 50% of our health incomes. 50%. Your health behaviors account for 30%, what you eat, exercise, etc. Things that you can control. Clinical care, the quality of your clinical care is 20%, but 50%, and it's not being used. So what do? Well, we start with a limited number of excellent and expert hospital leaders and medical doctors and healthcare providers. We talk, we identify what they need, how they need it. Given what we know, we then shove all this data into our cloud-based systems, and then we can deliver it in any of these platforms, which are familiar with. We have everything worked out before the doctor and the patient sit down. Listen to the doctor tell us. This is Dr. Tim Berlin, and this is yours truly. We're at the UC Berkeley Nano Lab, and here's just a few seconds of how passionately Dr. Tim speaks of the things I've just spoken.
So I think you termed it the hierarchy of needs, Brian. For me, it's I'll put it into context. To me, the important thing in health is helping people, and we want to help people with better decisions. And social determinants of health are important to make better decisions in health. The thing is, we're not using it. So to include it in the consultation, to include social determinants of health into the input that is required to make better decisions would be a good thing. The only potential problem is increasing the time that doctors and nurses take to make decisions, because now they're having to incorporate more input. For me, the important thing would be to structure it in a certain way that would make it easier and more feasible for them to use at the bedside. And how do we structure this? Well, you look at the different functional levels of data analytics. So we'll have to use data analytics to structure it in a better way. So you get descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. And diagnostic is basically taking what you see, taking the description and making a diagnosis out of it. And that can help in that it'll decrease the time for the consultation, but I won't get into that. Predictive is looking forward. It's making a prediction about what's going to happen based on the input. And prescriptive is taking that prediction and basically telling you what to do in order to align it with certain objectives. So what you're looking at is basically a functional classification of data analytics, which could be used to introduce social determinants of health to the health system. Why do we need it? We need it to make faster decisions. We don't want to increase the amount of time that health professionals take to make decisions. And obviously to increase the quality of decisions as well. I think social determinants of health are extremely important to make better decisions to help more people.
So our vision is to redefine how clinical care is given. We anticipate a $10 million market in 5 years. We are now inviting partners and social impact investors to join us. This is the contact information to reach me, and either myself or someone will get back to you. We have another short video on the website that you can click to if you'd like to see a rough demo of what we call our prototype.